everyone. Today we are joined with Chelsea Taylor for Real Talk. I am Sean Brown, and we are so excited to have Chelsea joining us today. So welcome to this episode of Real Talk.
Hi.
So first off, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, kind of how you got into photography, just like the stuff that everybody wants to know.
The questions everyone's asking, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
The dinger. I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, we're live people. This is like a no editing stuff, so we're just going to roll with the punches.
So I am originally from Northeast Oklahoma. I have been shooting off and on for a little over 10 years. I kind of started dabbling in everything. But then about 4 years ago, I decided to specialize in seniors. And that was after I had moved to Kansas, which is where I'm at now. I'm in South Central Kansas. And yeah, it's been going great ever since then.
So for those of you who don't know, Chelsea is super talented. She's actually one of the Hot 100 winners for Senior Style Guide Magazine's 2017 edition. And she's also judging this year's past Modern Teen Style competition. So kind of for those of you who don't know Chelsea, she's an amazing teen and senior photographer, like you said, out of Kansas. So how did you get started specializing in seniors? Was it something that just kind of happened naturally, or was it something that you more pursued?
It was a definite decision. I kind of had that pull that seniors were something I really enjoyed. They were something I was passionate about. Those were the clients I really felt like I connected with, and that I wanted to really cultivate and embrace those girls and kind of be something more for them than just regular old senior pictures. So I told my husband what I was thinking. I was like, hey, I'm going to specialize. I'm going to do all these things. And of course he's like, crazy. It's a small town in Kansas, but you know, you do you. So, it was a little bit of a gradual change. I kind of weaned off of families over the course of like maybe 6 months. And then jumped in with the class of 2016, I guess, was when I really went full time. And then it wasn't until this past spring that I decided to add teens into the mix. I felt like there were girls that wanted to shoot with me who were impatient waiting for their senior year. And so I added girls 13 to 16 years old into teen sessions this year as well.
That's awesome. I think that's something that everybody kind of struggles with is when do you start marketing to the seniors? Because for me, it's like some girls have been like, oh, I want you since like their freshman year. So yeah. Was that an opportunity?
You like obsessively? Yes.
Seriously. Was that like an opportunity you saw marketing wise, or was it just something that you just felt kind of drawn to because you said you kind of wanted to make an impact and with the teens as kind of a gateway to that?
Yeah. With the teens, I think it was a 50-50. Half of it was in the area that I'm in. I can't speak for everybody, but the kids in my area get to submit their own yearbook photos. But usually there's a deadline of like January or February for that. So they're all shooting their sessions in the summer and the fall. They don't want to shoot in the spring because their yearbook pictures have already been due. It's too late for that. So I always kind of had this little dead spot during the spring months that I really wanted to be shooting and being creative, and I wanted to fill those spots. So I thought teens were a great opportunity for that. And then with that, I felt like it created a relationship with those girls early on, rather than them waiting until their senior year and hoping that they picked me. Now I'm creating relationships with those girls, you know, whether I've shot their older sister already, or maybe they have younger sisters that get to meet me through the process. I get to work with them and their moms and their siblings, and I'm creating relationships that then when they're seniors, it's a no-brainer. I already have girls I've shot as teens that are like, oh my gosh, can't wait for senior pictures next year. You know, so yeah, it's kind of a twofold. I'm trying to fill that gap that was a need in my business, and then hopefully cultivate, you know, those future clients as well.
Oh, absolutely. And it's always, you get those teens that are like freshmen and you're like, I'm so ready for my senior photos. It's like 3 more years to go before you actually get to photograph them.
For anybody, but when you're a teenager, that's like an eternity. That's forever. So.
Well, yeah, because like they don't want to wait for web pages to load 2 seconds, much less like 3 years to go by for their senior photos. So kind of going off that, how did you work to balance kind of the senior collections with like your teen stuff? Kind of where was that? How did you find that kind of sweet spot?
I feel like I'm still working at like the perfect sweet spot for that. But as far as like the sessions and what I'm offering them and things like that, I talked to some parents who had girls who were like my senior models, but I knew they also had daughters who were sophomores and freshmen. And I kind of got their perspective of having a senior, but also having a younger girl, and pitched them some ideas. So not so much a focus group, but some focused advice from moms. I also talked to some of my high school students as well and got their opinions. And what it boiled down to was they wanted something special and they wanted an experience, but they didn't want something that when they got to be seniors, they felt like they'd already done it, and it overshadowed, you know, if you're a senior but your little sister shoots exactly what you did, it doesn't feel as special at the time. So there were a lot of factors to take into consideration. Basically what I did is I kind of cut my senior experience in half. It's still the same environment. It's still the same vibe. They still get hair and makeup. They get wardrobe assistance from me, but we shoot less outfits. We shoot for less time. They see less images. And then the offerings as far as products are really pared down to, you know, simple things that mom might want or they might want. There's not as much available to them. So.
And I think that's a great little kind of tidbit of advice, is doing what works for your market. Because it's like, what works in Kansas probably isn't going to work in nice, stormy Portland, Oregon for me.
Yes.
So I think that that's something, if photographers can take away one thing, it's really doing what works for your market and not just figuring out, oh, what worked for that person and kind of doing a carbon copy of that. Because I think that's kind of the rut people get stuck in.
Yeah. And there is a fine balance. I mean, your clients can't dictate your business and make your decisions for you, but you also have to kind of have that finger on the button of like, what do they want? What do they need? What makes sense to them? You know, there has to be a little bit of advice given. And if you have that relationship with some of your moms or some of your seniors where you feel comfortable asking them like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you think? You know, what are your feelings on that? Do that. Like, hear what they have to say, take it with a grain of salt, of course, and make your own decisions. But yeah, you have to know who your client is and what they want, and you have to be able to use that to your advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's something that's so great is figuring out what they want too, because it's like, it is your business, but if like you're not doing stuff that the teams want, like so long, they're not going to book.
What's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So recently, or I guess at the time of filming, you just had a senior session go viral. Can you give us kind of a little backstory on all of that?
Oh, geez. It's still happening. I don't even know. So one of my senior models this year, her name's Madison. She is a beautiful, just amazing girl. And it's interesting because when we met during the process of applying for the team, none of this had started yet. So I've been kind of through the process with her. I think it was in the spring. She ended up shaving her head, not by choice. It kind of circumstances, they weren't really sure yet, but she ended up shaving her head, which I thought was awesome. Immediately, I'm like, you rock this. Let's do a shoot. Let's embrace it. Let's like make you feel really good about it. So we did that. Well, then over the summer, it started progressing to where she was actually losing hair. And they diagnosed her with alopecia. She's got basically spotty hair loss. It's happening on her head. It's happening in her eyebrows. And when her senior session came around, she had toyed with the idea of wearing a wig. Usually at school, she just wears head covers, stocking hats, things like that. But she had thought about wearing a wig. She ordered one. She tried it on. She sent me a picture. As with all my girls, I'm like, you do what makes you feel good. I will support whatever makes you feel good. I'm here for whatever you want to do. So like a week or two before her shoot, she texts me and she's like, I don't feel like wearing a wig is going to represent who I am and what I stand for. I don't think that's the right message I want to send. She sends me this inspiration picture of this painted head, and I'm like, let's do it. Let's paint your head. Like I'm totally there for that. So we shoot it. We go, I do sneak peeks. We go through the normal routine. She already has products. Like we've done this whole session. And now kind of after the fact, she posted some images on Twitter from her phone app that I sent her. That's kind of how it all started. She got a ton of likes. Yahoo was the first one that contacted her for some quotes and to publish the story. And from there, it sort of has gone Allure Magazine and Help.com. And then it was Cosmopolitan. And then we were contacted by the Today Show. Today I was contacted by BuzzFeed and Huffington Post. So there's going to be a BuzzFeed article. So it's still kind of growing. It's still kind of this crazy thing. It's odd. It's cool, but it's also weird. It's a weird feeling. So it's been a really neat experience for me. And I know Madison, thankfully, when things go on the internet, it can get out of hand, but she's had a really awesome response from people who were inspired by her or made to feel confident about exposing, hair loss. And so she's had a really good response as well.
I think that's so cool.
That was long-winded.
No, it's good. I love it. And I think that just kind of speaks volumes to the role that we have as senior photographers and teen photographers, is that it might not seem like we're having an impact on these individuals, but like stories like yours kind of put it into context where how far reaching we can be as photographers. So I think that's something it's a little bit cool to kind of keep in our back of our minds when we're like, oh man, should I even be like shooting photography? Like I suck. And just kind of stories like that where it's like
terrible. This is terrible.
Yeah.
Well, and it's an interesting thing too, to look at that one conversation. Had it gone differently, had my reaction been like, oh, I don't know, like she wants to paint her head. That seems kind of, are we going to do that for every outfit? Like, I mean, my mind could have gone somewhere else and I could have talked her into a headscarf or a wig and we would have never been here. You have to really embrace who they are and encourage them to do those things that make them feel good about themselves. And whatever that may be, like, be like, yeah, go for it. Let's do it. Let's make it awesome. So it does.
Yeah, I think that just kind of goes going outside the box for you as a photographer, because it's like, that is not what you're used to shooting. And that's kind of not what is in your portfolio and stuff like that. So it's kind of you taking a further step to kind of really make her feel just like it's her senior experience, and it all kind of comes in different shapes and forms.
Yes, agreed.
So kind of going off of kind of going viral and stuff and all of that, what was like your first reaction when somebody like that reached out to you?
Oh, my first reaction was like, what if this goes viral? I was like, oh my gosh. Cause you have that fear. Honestly, as a business person, I was like, my website's not ready for this. Yeah. I was like, if this goes crazy, I'm not prepared for people to be going to my website and they're like, God, this is like 8 months old. Like, what is this stuff? So, I mean, I had the business reaction, you know what I mean? Where I was like, oh geez. And it kind of made me nervous. But mostly for Madison, I was super excited. I'm always excited about seeing, not so much for me, like seeing my work published, for my girls. Like they are always so excited. Like today, texting the girls like, hey, guess who's in the Hot 100? They're like, oh my God, no way, is it me? Which one? I'm like, it's for them. They are stoked. They are stoked. They want to like shout from the mountaintop that they've been in a magazine or that they've been published. And again, it reinforces that like, hey, I'm pretty and I'm amazing and my pictures are awesome and like I look great. And it's like you said, it's reinforcement for us. Like I don't suck, but it's good for them also to give them that boost of confidence that like you are so amazing and you look so awesome. And you know what I mean? It's just, I think it's been really exciting for her. And that's mostly my reaction, is that I think it's a great thing for her.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's something important you said, is like a lot of the times with publications, it's like, it's not for you, it's for your clients. Like yes. It's stuff that they want to be in magazines. They want to be like, it's just a self-esteem booster, like being able to show your friends an actual printed magazine and kind of show their friends the pages that they're printed in.
Yes.
Yeah. So you've been in business, what, 4 or 5 years now?
I've been specializing in seniors for almost 4 years.
4 years. And so kind of what was one of the big things that you kind of think that set you apart in being able to specialize, where it was kind of like maybe like the Kickstarter, the catalyst to growing your senior business?
I think first and foremost was I just went for it. I just did it and I committed. And the nice thing was at the time there was nobody in my area specializing in seniors. There's still not really. There's, like seniors and families, seniors. I'm still pretty much the only one who only does teen and senior girls. But nobody else was doing it. Nobody else had a model team. I did that. When I decided to specialize, I knew that needed to be number one, is I needed a team of girls to help me get my name out there. But mostly I think it's that I just did it. Like I put the fear to the side and I was like, I'm going to do this. I don't necessarily know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it. And I'm going to get a Snapchat and I'm going to get a Twitter and I'm going to get models and I'm going to, do these cool, exciting things. And me and my models are going to have movie nights and we're going to go have Christmas parties and it's going to be a family and I'm going to make it a thing if it kills me. And it's a thing now. So.
And it clearly didn't kill you because you're here now.
No, yeah. Some days I feel like it does, but no, you have to go for it. You have to but you can't just say I'm going to go for it and then be upset when it doesn't work out. Like you have to make the commitment. It's a lot of time. Like luckily I don't have children, which I think is a big factor. But like, it's a lot of time being on social media, knowing the way they talk, interacting with them, making feel like you are interested in their lives and you want to hear from them and you're their friend. Like, that takes time and effort, but it's super worth it. But you definitely have to commit and like live in the teenager world in order for it to work.
Absolutely. And I think it also comes down to like being genuine about that, where a lot of the teens now, they're like, they know if you're trying to like force it too much.
Yes.
Yeah. So
They
and I think
know if your slay girl is like not, they're like, don't do that.
yeah.
You're not cool, mom. Don't say that. So yeah, where you come from has to be a genuine place.
Oh, it absolutely does. And if you could go back to say like day one of your business, like one piece of advice that you could give yourself, what would it be?
To trust my instincts. I feel like that's the biggest thing for me. Is every time I have felt like I want to do something and that I can do it, like that's huge for me. You know, deciding to specialize in a small town can be really scary. I knew I was going to do it and then I did it. You know, that's
Somebody's back for you.
Somebody's here. They're delivering packages, FYI. That's photo products coming in. I think that's the biggest piece of advice I could give. I did it anyway, but I think I would have just reassured myself that like, if you feel like you want to do something and it's right for you, even if it's scary or somebody else is like, I don't know, those collections seem expensive, or I don't know, it's a small town, or I don't know, it's Kansas, forget what they say and just do what you feel like is right for you.
Yeah, and I think that's what you just recently did with your pet portraits too, right? So can you, give us a little kind of insight into how that got started, kind of your, I guess, why you wanted to do it?
So I'm a huge, if you follow me on Snapchat, I love my fur babies. I love dogs. I love cats. I wish I could have a million, but my dog's kind of a butthead. So it's just him. He's an only child. But there's a rescue close to me who, they do all kinds of dogs, but they sort of specialize in pit bulls. There's a huge issue in our area with breeding and fighting and things like that. So there are a lot of tough cases they take on. I followed him on social media for a long time. I really wanted to do something to help. I didn't really know like how to go about that. So I decided I would offer pet mini sessions with people and their dogs, but all of the money from the mini sessions would be donated to the rescue. I felt like that was the best way for me to utilize my skill set. It's not something I normally offer. I don't normally do mini sessions. I don't normally do families, but I was like, I'm going to do what I want to do because I feel like this is something I'm passionate about. So my goal was $1,000. We raised about $1,250 from the pet mini sessions, and I'm actually going to deliver that check this Friday. I'm super excited.
That's so cool. And I think that just kind of goes back to showing like, do what you want to, and regardless of like what anybody else says, because it would have been very easy for people to be like, yo, Chelsea, like don't do pet mini sessions because that's like,
they're free. I mean, I'm giving it all away. So I'm, it's, you take your time and your effort and your planning, and then, but yeah, I felt good about it. I feel good about it. I'm super excited.
Yeah. And it's like, it just goes down to, it's your business. Do what you feel is right. And you just kind of have to, like you said, go with that gut instinct. Yeah. And then kind of last thing for you, what is one takeaway that you hope the audience watching today has from this?
That's hard. I feel like the first thing is to trust yourself. Like I said, trust your instincts. If you feel called to do something, or like you want to be successful in a certain area, or even if it's just a simple goal, like I want to be in the Hot 100, or I want to be published in a magazine, or I want to add like X session over here, I want to do teens or whatever. I think the biggest thing is just to go for it. I think with that said, you have to educate yourself. You have to look at what other people have done, get advice, go to a mentorship, whatever that may be, do an online something, buy somebody's program who's done model teams before. Education is huge. You can't just go out blindly and like, be like, okay, I'm doing this thing. But yeah,
have no clue like what you're doing along the way. Yeah.
Go for whatever you want to do, but educate yourself, put the time in, put the effort in, really.
You're just super popular today. That's what it is.
And really invest in yourself. And that I think is the biggest thing. I see all the time people want to do something, but then they want to talk about why it's not going to work for them, or they don't want to take the advice that's given to them, or, well, it won't work for me because this. If you want to do something and you're going to go for it, you got to like do it. and you have to really put in the time and the effort and the research and take the initiative to make it work. Don't just hope that it works. That's my advice. Don't just do something and hope that it works.
You got to put the legwork in.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, where can people find you on social media and your website? We'll also be sure to link it down in the YouTube.
Yes, please go to my old outdated website. That would be so great. Thank you.
We will, if you want us to.
So my website is thechelseataylor.com. My Snapchat is CTP Seniors. My Twitter is CTP_seniors. My Instagram is the Chelsea Taylor. My Facebook is Chelsea Taylor Photography. And if you guys aren't on Twitter, your teens are on Twitter. Sean can attest to this.
Yep.
That's our
Twitter
other
is huge
today. Twitter's crazy. It's a crazy world, but that's where they are. So
absolutely.
if you're not on Twitter, you should look into that.
Yeah, it's just, I think it's untapped market potential. I think you've got it figured out because you really have kind of a cool connection with all of your seniors on Twitter and just kind of watching the banter
cool
back and forth. The cool mom, yeah.
Mom.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining us. And we're going to end this with a question that you are going to ask the viewers watching. So what is one question that you want people to answer down below in the comments?
Oh, God, you put me on the spot.
I know. It's rapid fire. It's quick questions here.
I want to know, oh my gosh. I don't know, Sean. Like a business question?
Business, or it can be like, even like, what's their favorite place to shop? I don't care. Anything.
Oh, I want to know, what is your senior's favorite product? That's what I want to know. I want to know what is the favorite thing at your studio that gets ordered. Because if I don't have it, I might want it.
You guys have heard of Oprah's favorite things? Today we're doing Chelsea's favorite things. So.
What are your favorite things?
Awesome. Well, thank you again. Like I said, everybody, we'll link down Chelsea's Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter and old website and all of that stuff. So thank you guys again for joining us. And thanks for taking the time out of your evening to sit down and just kind of give us a little insight into your business and who you are.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks again. And we'll see you guys on the next episode of Real Talk.
Bye.